Hello, welcome back to part two of the Shelly Carter Show, the Shelly Carter interview. I did mention last time that Shelly is the first black female captain of a fire department in Connecticut, in Connecticut's history. So she's been making history as she's pursued her career as a firefighter. Shelly, good to have you back.
Hi, thank you so much.
Good to see you again.
Yes.
We left off last time. You were with the 24 hours on.
Yes.
And
2472.
2472. And I want to just touch on how did you get from firefighter to captain? What motivated you to work your way up the ranks?
Well, initially when I came on, like I said, I never thought I'd be a firefighter. And so just being a firefighter, just being on the job, being hired, going through training was huge for me. And so I never thought that I would be a captain. To be honest with you, I never kind of wanted to be a captain because I just thought that was just so far off from me. And so as I, began to be a firefighter, doing my job every day and learning the job, it was very difficult for me simply because, one, I had some family issues at home. I was in the process of getting divorced. I had these little kids that I needed to take care of. And so I went to work, but I wasn't able to focus on my education as a firefighter. I was just there to do my job and kind of leave and go home and take care of my personal life. Once that all settled, God blessed me with an amazing husband, a new husband. He's not new anymore. We've been married for 10 years. But my home began to settle and my children were doing great. And my husband who's a retired firefighter, Brainard Carter, who's amazing. I love him to death. He began to push me. He's like, honey, why don't you, try to become a driver? It's because the first step is a driver. I became a driver. One of the first two female drivers in the history of the department. Michelle Adams was our first female driver. And I was the second. And so it began to light some fire under me. Like, okay, so I can do this. I can take on another leadership role as a driver. And then I took the test for lieutenant. And again, it was difficult. It was hard for me simply because as a female, a lot of times, not all the time, but some women have self-doubt and just kind of having to second guess, am I capable of doing this job? There are men in the department and outside the department that look at you and go, you can't do it. You don't know how to do it. You shouldn't be here. And so that's another motivator for me. The minute someone tells me I can't do something, oh my gosh, it's like, let's do it. So I went away and did a lot of training, personal training on my own. I spoke to other people around the country, went to a bunch of classes and just tried to learn the language of the fire service. And so I say all that to say, as a woman, if you are considering becoming a firefighter, it's a language. It's a different lifestyle. It's a different way of being, but it's phenomenal. And anyone is capable of doing this as long as they put the work in.
So how long have you been a captain?
So I've been a captain since May. I was made captain back in May as the executive officer for the City of Hartford Fire Department, and was the executive officer for a few months. Loved it. It was great. Got to learn a lot of how the department runs from the inside out, and was like, hey, let's try something different. So I was told that I was going to be moved to Engine Company 5 as the house captain. Again, I have never had the opportunity to be a captain on the line, and so wow, what a great experience. It's been wonderful so far.
Are there any other, besides yourself, are there any other women firefighters in the city of Hartford?
There are.
And what's your experience? How are they doing? How do they seem to fit into the?
So Hartford is the highest populated department with female firefighters in the area. Most departments only have one or two. I believe we had 16 or 17 females, which is unheard of in our department, which is great. But we're here. I'm here because of the women that came before me. So Zandra Clay Watley, she was the first black female hired. She was the first female hired to the City of Hartford Fire Department. Maria Ortiz, she was the first Hispanic female hired. Then you have Kat Siri, and you have Helene Lynch, you have Hermine. There's all these women, Michelle Adams, all these trailblazing women, Melanie DePamphilis. These are women that I work with, Nicole McCardo, and I got to see these ladies, be amazing in the career that they've chosen. And, I was a newbie. I walked into a department where there were already women that were giving me direction on how to become who I am today. So I give honor to all of those ladies that came before me. Frances Lugo, I'm trying to remember all their names. Helene Lynch, all these ladies that showed me the way, and they took a lot of crap. Now, I came on, I had some difficulty, but these ladies literally, had people messing with their gear, and, men saying that they leaving them out or leaving them to prove themselves. A lot of that did happen in the past. And some departments it still happens, unfortunately. But here, that's why I'm here. So here we are, 2019, and we have a black female captain. And I want to be an example to the ladies on my job right now and say, listen, you learn the language of the fire service, put 110% in. Don't be the weakest link. Train and do your job and learn how to do it and do it well, and be proud of who you are. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, but I'm a firefighter.
Have you been involved in working with young women to expose them to firefighting, or to not even specifically firefighting, but just young women that you can work with to improve their confidence and goals and self-esteem and so on?
Absolutely. So I started 4 years ago a program called Girls Future Firefighter Camp. Girls Future Firefighter Camp has been a godsend.
You started it.
I created it. It was my brainchild. It was something that I wanted to do for the girls in Hartford. And it has expanded throughout the entire state of Connecticut. And now we're going into Massachusetts, which I am so proud of. My camp is phenomenal. And basically what it does, it's not to create firefighters. It's the platform is the fire service, yes, and public safety, yes. But this is to empower young girls and let them know that they can be anything they put their mind to. They can be whoever they want to be. And I love it. So basically the girls camp, we meet 5 consecutive Fridays. And Rocky Hill Fire Department has opened their doors to us. So we actually get to work in a working firehouse with all the equipment. We go to Hartford Hospital where they get to do robotic surgeries and deliver robotic babies. We do anything. What I decided with this camp is all the jobs and paths that I've traveled in the fire service, I bring to my girls camp. So everything I've touched, training, plans reviews, code enforcement, fire investigations, firefighting, police, dispatch, anything you can imagine that I've done in the process of being in my 20 years, I bring to these young ladies and let them know that, first of all, you can be a firefighter if you choose. If not, if you don't want that career path, there's EMTs, there's paramedics, there's dispatchers, there's, all these different components to the fire service that I didn't know about when I was 19, 18, 15 years old. No one told me at 12, 14 that I should become a firefighter. Why not? This is the best job in the world.
How many girls do you have in this, that you have in the camp at a time?
So this year, we've had 26. Our first year, we started out with 9. And next year, I don't know, we might take it all the way up to 30, 35, it depends.
Now, is this during the summer too?
It's the summer.
Say the girls' camp, so
yep.
Do they go to a certain site?
Yep.
Where do they go to they could get on a bus and go to.
Yep. So I wanted the camp to be platformed in Hartford. Unfortunately, that did not happen. So like I said, Rocky Hill was gracious enough to open their doors. Chief Garrahy is phenomenal. And so with Chief Garrahy, he's allowed us to bring the girls in. So I transport the girls myself. My husband and I, we do great things with some help from the International Association of Fire Chiefs, Everyday Hero program. They've been phenomenal with donating monies and things like that to help to get the camp girls where they need to be. We feed them. It's a free camp. We transport them. We take them everywhere. And no, it's wonderful. And I have something for you. So.
For me?
For you. This is our official uniform of the girls' camp. And it says Girls Future Firefighter Camp.
Ooh, oh, that's wonderful. Oh, wow.
And on the back it says, I can be anything. I am confident, courageous, strong. So I wanted to give this to you.
Thank you, Shelly. Wow, did y'all see that? Did you get a picture of that?
So let me give you the story of the number 9. My very first house when I became a firefighter, they sent me to Engine Company 9. Engine Company 9 was said to be one of the slowest houses in the city. It was called the retirement home. I went to 9s. I don't know why they thought I needed to go to 9s, but so be it. I went to 9s. What's funny is while I was at 9s, that's really where I really learned. I got to work with guys that had 20 years on the job. I had the opportunity to work and learn from people who were very seasoned in the fire service. So it was great, at the time, because when I was doing something wrong, they would grab me and go, come over here, you're doing it wrong. Do it like this, as opposed to me, going out and messing up, So a lot of times when I was detailed to a different house where my new probationary firefighter buddies were at, and I knew how to do a specific task, they didn't know. I was sitting with the 25-year guy just 20 minutes, the other day. He told me all about it. So I pay homage to Engine Company 9, and it was what I needed at the time to get to where I am today.
Before I forget, in case there's some viewers out there, and I'm sure there are because we're in 10 different towns.
Oh, okay.
Hartford, West Hartford, and New Britain, and all over the central Connecticut area. If there's some young ladies out there who are interested in the camp, could you tell us how they can get in touch with you?
Absolutely. So there's a website. It's called Girls Future Firefighter Camp. You can go to the website. You can read all about what we do. There's also some photos. And you can also email me at girlsfuturefirefightercamp@gmail.com. Also, if you want to make a donation, you could do that as well. Like I said, my husband and I pay for everything with the camp. So if you feel the need to donate, we would appreciate it. It's girlsfuturefirefightercamp@gmail.com.
Okay, good. I hope you all got that written down there. Sounds like a wonderful, wonderful cause. So, I just wanted to touch on so many things here. It's hard to make up my mind. What have there been any people in your life, any individuals as you've grown up, lived your life, that have been influenced you?
Absolutely. So, of course, my mother. My mother is my queen, and she is one of the strongest people I know. She raised us to be intelligent and strong and never to back down on what we believe. She's hugely important. Even to this day, she's still around running things from her house. And I talk to her every single day, and she's an amazing woman. And so
she's the one who instilled that sense of you can do
anything. My mother graduated. She got her GED when she came to Connecticut. She had already had 4 children. She decided she wasn't going to be status quo. She wasn't going to be a statistic. So she got her GED, went through a work-study program, and ended up being an accountant for the city of Hartford, working under Mr. Kinsella for 25 years, I believe, as an accountant for the city. And to go from being a single mom to getting a GED, not finishing high school, but getting her GED, then going off to do college work. She did college classes at night. She was always in school, always learning, and I got to watch that. My mom's phenomenal.
Role models.
Absolutely.
So you had a good role model, and I guess that's important. Why isn't there's some people probably wondering why aren't there more role models that in the inner city urban kids, kids who were lower income neighborhoods and so on? Why aren't there more role models out there for these kids?
You know, I don't know. I mean, I try my best to be the best role model I can be. I want young ladies to understand. You know, I gear my platform towards young girls because of who I am, and I try to get as many outside instructors or friends of mine who are positive people to influence these young ladies as well. And so they've all formed relationships. All of the instructors, for the most part, have formed relationships with a lot of the girls in the camp. And so it's so important to have that person that you look at. I want to be a chief one day. My goal is to become a chief of a department. And I spend my time talking to female chiefs. Who else would I talk to? That's where I want to go. That's where I plan to be. It may not happen today or tomorrow, but it's going to happen. And so that's what I try to instill in my young girls that I come in contact with all over the country is that, you know, it may not happen today or tomorrow, but pay attention and look into exactly where you want to go. And then you put yourself in the place of, you know, getting your education, learning your craft, even if you don't go to college, you know, whatever craft you choose, be the best at it and be number one at, be a leader. And so that's you have to have that role model or you kind of fall by the wayside or you forge your way, you try to figure it out when there's someone that's right there in front of you that can actually show you.
Well, so what are some of the most important, given your experiences that you've had as a child, as an adult, as a mother, as a daughter, as a captain, as a firefighter? What are some of the most important lessons what have you learned? What are 2 or 3 of the most important lessons that life has taught you?
You have to treat people how you want to be treated. That is huge for me. I've gone through 20 years in the fire service, and there's been a lot of times where I was treated not so kindly. And you sit back and you go, wow, that must be a really miserable, unhappy, unlucky person. And so I try my best to treat people how I want to be treated. I try to be honest. I try to be forgiving and understanding and compassionate, and love people wherever they are, whatever situation they're in. I don't judge them but for the grace of God, if they're in a bad situation, I could be there too. And so I try to treat people how I want to be treated.
Do you think that's an important quality for all people to have, including people in power, political leaders, people in positions where they have a great influence over the way people live, living conditions that they provide, society in general?
Yes.
And a lot of stuff that is reflected in our collective society is stuff that the political leaders and the powerful people pass on. Do you think that it would be a better world if they were more compassionate, if everybody were more compassionate?
Being an inspector, I'll just kind of throw a side note in there. Being an inspector, I've seen landlords that have apartment buildings around the city where people are living in complete disarray and filth and things that landlords can actually do to bring their apartment buildings up to code. And I sit back as an inspector and I would go, would you ever live with the windows falling out of your house? I mean, I'm being extreme at that point, but would you ever live like this? I'm not talking about people cleaning their house. I'm talking about basic, making sure that there's smoke detectors. making sure there's fire prevention that needs to be there and in place. Would you live like that? And that goes to show, even in the political realm, how people live and how they get to determine how politics or politicians get to make laws and determine how other people live, even with our fire code. You have to meet people where they are. And think about this. Consider yourself. Would you live, you're about to make this law. Would you live under that same law?
Well, so you think, basically, it sounds like what you're saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that the living conditions have a great influence the decisions and the thinking that a person does, and the better the living conditions that we can provide for children
Right.
who are brought into this world
Right.
through no choice of their own.
Right.
That we as a society owe them at least the advantage of having a decent
living.
housing and an
Absolutely.
education.
Decent housing, decent education. And again, it's not about how clean a person is, if you will. It's about a child leaving a school or leaving a place and being able to come home to a healthy, happy, neat, safe environment. And so some young ladies in my camp didn't have that, don't have that. So being that some ladies might have difficulties at home, they have to come to me, and I will be more than happy to encourage them to, this is your example, let's see how we can make you do better. How can we create a better path for you in your future?
So you could be the person, you could be that one person in a lot of the lives of these people.
Absolutely.
Who can make a difference.
Absolutely. And so why are we here on this earth if we're not here to make a difference? If we're what are we here for? What is our purpose?
Well, it's not, it seems like, Shelly, it seems like it's not, to me, it's not rocket science.
Right.
Isn't it, correct me, because you know more about it than I do, didn't Jesus say, what you do to the least of my brothers,
You do unto me.
you do to me?
Absolutely.
Well, what do you think he meant by that?
He meant exactly what you said. What you do to the people that you come in contact with, if you see someone hungry and you don't feed them, if you see someone that needs clothes or they're naked and you don't clothe them, then you're doing it to him. So you can't say you love God and you treat people bad. It just doesn't work that way.
And you've got 5 children.
I have 5 amazing
Tell us,
sons.
let's talk about that before we end the program. I want to talk about, you've got 5 boys.
Yes.
And you've got one, I want to have you, Brandon, come on up here.
These are my amazing boys.
Come on up here and have a seat. You guys have a seat. I'm going to talk to you in just a second. First, I want Mother to play something for our listening audience. That's your son at the University of Cincinnati.
Yes.
And he's what is?
So my son Miles is a opera singer. He graduated from Carnegie Mellon University on a full scholarship. And now he is at the University of Cincinnati finishing up his master's degree. And he's a phenomenal singer. I'll let you listen to some of his music.
Play a little bit of that.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Wow,
my son.
thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Very good. Good.
That's my baby.
Miles, you're awesome, dude.
That's my
You're
baby.
awesome.
Then
Now-
I have Malcolm, who's 17. He's my football and basketball star. He goes to Xavier. We have my husband and I. We have an older son, Robert, and he lives in South Carolina. He's working, and then we also have these 2 boys, Brandon. This is Brandon.
Brandon.
And this is Brendan. They're twins. They're God's little sense of humor. And so God blessed us with 2 little boys who are 10 years old, and they're my superstars as well.
Well, you guys, Brandon, I'll ask you, how does it feel, your mother's, she's your mother, but she's also a captain of a fire department. How do you feel about that? Does that make you feel pretty proud?
Yeah, she does make me feel proud because
Speak loud.
it does make me feel proud because she gets to be a leader. She's responsible and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Brendan, what do you think?
I'm pretty proud because she saves lives and she's a role model and she is
Pretty cool.
yeah.
Pretty cool.
Sure. Okay. I think you guys just earned an extra Christmas present
Yeah,
for
I think so. Yeah.
for that sparkling endorsement.
I'll pay you your $5 when we leave.
Well, Brandon, we're just about ready to wrap this up. Shelly, I just want to thank you for sharing your life and your story, and I think that I hope that people find it a stimulating, motivating example of what adversity, sometimes we can overcome adversity,
Right.
and but it also takes it takes other people. Sometimes it can be a teacher, it could be a coach, it can be a firefighter, somebody in your life that can come along and make the difference.
Right.
And I think we all need to realize that we all can play a part in helping other people overcome their obstacles and improve their lives and meet their potential and be all that they can be. Right. That's the important thing. So Shelly, Brandon, Brendan, thank you very much again.
Thank
Shelly,
you so much. You know what,
thank
Jeff?
you very
thank
much.
you so much for having me. And I just want everyone to know that there is nothing that's impossible. You can do whatever you put your mind to. Even with the struggles that I've had in the fire service, I'm proud to be sitting here today as a captain. So thank you.
It's a wonderful way to end the program. Very
Yes.
good. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And we'll see you next time on Journeys with Jeff. Thank you very much.
Thank you.